your money and the politics of construction with your money. I want you all to pay very, very close attention to this program today because it's your money. Nothing good can usually come from giving politicians access to a lot of money that they did not earn, that you earned. Now, let me try and put this into some perspective. If you own a home or a piece of property, you pay property tax. If you rent or lease, the property tax is included in your rent or your lease. No matter what we do in our life on a daily basis, we are paying taxes. Whether we're buying gas, whether we're buying a house, whether we're buying a piece of, it doesn't matter. We are taxed, taxed, taxed. It's a subject for another program. The point is that we earn it. And the politicians are wasting our tax money. Wasting it, blowing it. That's a problem. Now, I used to do a lot of political shows that got none of us, me or you, anywhere, because all it did was point out there's a problem. Now, as you all well know, probably in the last 15 years, I don't do problems. I do solutions. And if I don't have a solution to a problem, I'm not bringing you the problem. Now, if anybody out there, once I get done with this program today, doesn't think I know what I'm talking about, see all this? This is just a tiny bit of 10 years of research. 10. Well, wait a minute. 12. This has been watered down from a hard disk I have that's 4 terabytes that I've already used up a couple, 2 terabytes. Now, for those of us who don't understand computers, that's a lot of stuff. So, I'm going to explain the problem and your wasted tax dollars. Even if you only end up paying a few $1,000s a year in taxes. Shouldn't be wasted by people who just simply don't care because it's not their money. It's our money. Here comes the solution, which, by the way, I have proof that it's a good solution right here. Now, the problem, there is no better example of the problem than right in Arcochella Valley. And I'm specifically taking the city of Palm Springs. I'm not picking on them. They just did something, allegedly stupid. In case you've forgotten, former Palm Springs Mayor Steve Ponier, is that how you pronounce his name? Ponier? Pouget? Ponier. He has been accused of accepting bribes from a local prominent, allegedly rich developer by the name of John Westman. Bribes allegedly began in 2012 as John Westman, a very allegedly wealthy Coachella Valley developer, he builds stuff. In order to build stuff, you have to get permission from the local government to build your stuff. So he became allegedly very adept at getting city councils to do what he wanted them to do. I'm only concentrating on the one in Palm Springs. Now, am I the only one thinking that there's a problem here? No. We have a system of government, especially here in our county, Riverside County. We have a district attorney with a very fine legal staff. They're not perfect. They make mistakes. I don't agree with everything they do, but then you all don't agree with everything I do. That's life. But they're good. They don't go flying off the handle making accusation, indicting people on charges of bribery if they don't think they have the facts. Riverside County District Attorney Hestron said about former Mayor Pugno, this was a bribe, quote. These were bribes, quote. This money was sent to the mayor for his political influence, not for his work. District Attorney Hestron's Riverside County office has in their possession more than 150,000 pages of evidence that they believe proves that John Westman, developer, Steve Pugno, mayor at the time, broke the law. Westman paid bribes, money, to Pugno to influence the direction of the council when it came to him redeveloping a significant section of downtown Palm Springs on Palm Canyon Drive. Specifically, let's start with just one little piece of it. It's called the Kimpton Hotel. It opened in 2017. It opened despite the project being surrounded by bribery and conflict of interest allegations. Charges have been filed. They're very specific, by the way. Pardon me. They charge that former Mayor Steve Pugno accepted $375,000 in bribes from John Westman in exchange for favorable treatment by the Palm Springs City Council. All this is still pending in court. So it's all alleged. John Westman, along with Mr. Pugno, have been charged because they allegedly broke the law. Now, what did this result in? A very big problem for you and your tax dollars, specifically those of you in Palm Springs. Your money. $2 million of it, to be exact. Now, many of you didn't know this because I didn't know it. In the state of California, we have a department, just like the DMV, like Department of Motor Vehicles. It's called Department of Industrial Relations, State of California. They recently put out a news release about wage theft. This doesn't just happen in Palm Springs, it happens all over the state to the tune of millions upon millions upon millions of tax dollars. Now, I'm going to try and be very, very accurate here, because here's exactly what the Department of Industrial Relations has determined. The California Department of Industrial Relations has determined that the developer of the projects, specifically the downtown project of Westman Development, specifically, this is specifically to this problem, the developer of the projects could owe untold amounts of additional wages to workers who built the hotel and the shopping district. Now, here's the key. The Westman Development, they received $46 million in city funding. That's tax dollars that the city gave to Westman Development, $46 million in city funding, and they could receive an additional $100 million in potential transit occupancy tax refunds, according to a detailed report by the Department of Industrial Relations. This is not a political thing, folks. This is a legal thing. Now, I'm going to try and explain this as best I can. There's something called a prevailing wage. I'll get to more of an explanation in a minute, but here's where it goes. The prevailing wage is the hourly wage paid to a majority of workers on a public works project. Essentially, a prevailing wage is a wage when they work on projects that benefit from public funds. While some cities exempt public funded projects from prevailing wage because of their benefits to the residents, the California Department of Industrial Relations concluded that the downtown complex, the hotel and the shopping, is not exempt because the project is neither built, owned, nor operated by the city and has the primary purpose of private profit. The city's decision to subsidize with your tax dollars the profit margin of a private landowner in the city's downtown is not equivalent in purpose, scale, or function to the purely municipal acts of building a local fire station or fencing for a reservoir. That's the ruling from our state government department in charge of making sure that developers and contractors and cities and municipals and colleges and school districts stay honest with your money. This Palm Springs bribery mess, charges, could cost you, the taxpayers, $2 million more than the $46 million in city funding and another $100 million in taxes that people pay to stay in the local hotels. It's a lot of money. It's your money. Now, you probably think because Westman Development didn't pay prevailing wages to their construction workers, that, and in my opinion, allegedly broke the law, that Westman Development or Promenade are going to pay the money that they owe to those workers if they're found guilty. Well, no, not necessarily. You see, if you think Westman's company's going to pay for this if they're found guilty, think again. John Westman is allegedly no longer with his company, Westman Construction. It's been around for, I think, good 40 years, maybe more. Well, you see, they changed the name of the company to Grit Development. Why? I'm guessing, I'm alleging, I'm assuming, to avoid having to pay the wages that workers were allegedly cheated out of $2 million. Could all this have been avoided? Yes. Could all of this been done honestly and above boards, requiring zero bribes? Yes. Now, a bit of history. Why do I know all this? See this stuff? See all this? Rather than have to go this route, why don't we just do it right from the very beginning? Let me go back a few years, and I'm going to give you a few minutes, just bear with me, a few minutes of a video that I have aired for many, many months on the air. It's also on my website, now still, pattypatain.com. So take a listen to this and understand that this is the solution to not having this problem of your tax dollars being wasted and probably more having to be paid.
At the gateway to Coachella and Southern California, 17 acres on I-10 in Coachella, the Veterans Jobs and Business Academy is already training 120 local residents, high school graduates, and veterans for jobs that are waiting for skilled craftsmen. And remember, there are Valley families with sons and daughters in military service today. And hopefully, they will return home and they will need jobs worthy of their service. 30-plus years ago, our public schools decided that wood shop, metal shop, and other craft opportunities were no longer relevant in our public schools, for the future was to be computers. Our educational system lost its balance. Not everyone is meant to go to college and get burdened with serious financial debt before they even get started working. And 46% who enter college drop out. Yes, we need computer skills, doctors, nurses, engineers, and rocket scientists, but who's going to build the buildings that you, with your college graduate skills, will work in? Who's going to build the roads that you will drive your car to work on? And who's going to repair your car so that you can get to work? Skilled trades are required for safe building environments. And being a trained laborer, if only to dig a ditch, it has to be a good and proper ditch for the foundation of any building. For a wall without foundation strength, well, you're safer in a tent. An electrical switch incorrectly installed, a gas pipe not properly fitted, and your house blows up. Now, no one knows how to build anything better than our American trade unions. For unions help build the greatest middle class in history. Beginning in 1881, no one in America has a better history of creating skilled trade labor to meet the current demand. Please remember the meaning of these job titles: apprentice, journeyman, student, master. Thousands of years ago, the title journeyman meant a master of a trade who would journey from village to village to provide his skills. Now, Jesus was a journeyman carpenter. Confucius, a journeyman philosopher. Today, there is a partnership here in the Coachella Valley to educate future journeymen and women in skilled trades from restaurant server to electrician. The Riverside County Building Trades Council and the Coachella Valley Unified School District recently entered a partnership that guarantees local skilled tradesmen and women that they will have the jobs that builds the schools needed to meet their future educational needs. Every school district and municipality should have such an agreement to keep your municipal and school construction tax dollars available first to our local skilled labor force and first to our locally owned and veteran locally owned businesses. If you have any questions, call me.
These pre-apprentice and apprenticeship programs benefit every single person. I know this because I was very much a part, still am, very much a part of these apprenticeship programs. This initial program that you just saw was done on land that I am responsible for. I was an integral part of it happening. I'm very proud of that. Now, there's a law. It's called the Davis-Bacon Act, established in 1931. It's a United States federal law that establishes the requirement for paying the local prevailing wages on public works projects. It applies to contractors and subcontractors performing on federally funded or assisted contracts in excess of $2,000 for the construction, alterations, or repair. That's the law. The prevailing wage is that which is paid by the construction unions. Now, I want to compliment a couple of local municipal entities. The city of Cathedral City is very responsible. As a matter of fact, the city charter calls for a PLA, which is a project labor agreement. A project labor agreement signed with the Riverside County Building Trades Council. That's how it works. They agree to hire the best certified and the best trained in the eyes of an apprenticeship program of state regulations. They agreed to hire these people and hire contractors that hire these union members. To that and the city of Cathedral City, I absolutely commend you. I want to commend another municipal organization, a school district. The Coachella Valley Unified School District. In 2016, they signed a PLA, Project Labor Agreement. The Project Labor Agreements are also known as the words that I prefer to call them, Community Benefits Agreement, because everything done under a Project Labor Agreement benefits the city and the communities surrounding it, or our Coachella Valley. By signing a Community Benefits Agreement with the Riverside County Building Trades Council, does not and will not ever increase the cost of any construction or construction-related job. It simply does not happen. You want to know why? I'll be glad to do another hour program on that one. Take my word for it, it does not increase the cost just because you're hiring a union, educated, certified worker. When cities, schools, colleges do not have a community benefits agreement in place, anywhere from 40% to 60% of all of your tax money that you're paying for this construction work, if you don't have one of these agreements in place, the contractors can hire anybody from any place. Millions of dollars that were spent by the Westman to build these hotels and shopping things downtown. I've traveled to construction jobs all over the valley, and I've seen nothing against people from Arizona, nothing against people from New Mexico or Nevada, but I see these license plates where people have come in from outside of our state or outside of our Coachella Valley. They get these jobs, and they take the money back with them to their particular state or any place outside Riverside County. To me, that's not right. It's your tax money. It is your tax money. So it should stay here. A community benefit agreement makes that happen. Money doesn't leave town. The workers and the businesses that do not live here or are not located here give nothing back to our local economy. Between 40 and 60% of all of your tax money goes someplace else as opposed to being reinvested by people who go to the market, who buy cars, who pay their rent, who buy homes. If the worker or the contractor or the business, even if it's an engineering company, lives and does business here, the money will stay here. Is nothing compared to the amount of our tax dollars that will be spent on construction over the next 5 years here in the Coachella Valley. It is estimated between $4 billion and $5 billion of your tax money. This estimate is for pending construction and needed future construction to build more schools, municipal public benefit buildings, and especially the College of the Desert, because they have $500 million. Estimated to be spent in part to establish the Palm Springs COD campus. Now, COD, the College of the Desert, does not currently have a community benefits agreement. Their elected board, like the school board or the city council, they call themselves trustees because we have elected them to put our trust in them to do the right thing. That's a stretch. COD doesn't have one. In my opinion, if they continue to spend our tax dollars without a signed community benefit agreement in place, they are not serving in the public interest, which is in your interest, and they're not spending your tax dollars the way they should be spent, which is responsibly to keep the money here. Now, I'm going to monitor all this spending of our tax dollars on local construction from this point on. If our tax dollars for any construction over the amount of $2,000, as required by federal law, is not paid to prevailing wage and not done under a community benefits agreement, I will strongly present these facts as to why all city council members, school board members, and College of the Desert Board of Trustees should not be reelected, because they refuse to serve in the public interest, which is what politicians are supposed to do. For now, the elected Coachella Valley Unified School Board members in 2016 acted responsibly and in the public interest when they agreed to keep our tax dollars here. The Cathedral City Council acted responsibly and in the public interest when they put the Community Benefits Agreement, Project Labor Agreement, into their charter as law. Do I care deeply about seeing to it that young people, young adults, have good paying jobs with good health insurance, a retirement plan, secure money being saved for them for when they choose to no longer work or can no longer work? I believe in that. I totally believe in that. So I think our local governments, COD to start, Palm Springs to fix the mess, need to take this into consideration. The unions are not bad people. They're good people. Today's local construction and other professional union that occupy Riverside County, they are good, honorable people, and they deserve our support. Let's serve in the public interest for a change. Let's make sure that every single municipal entity in our Coachella Valley that gets our tax dollars for absolutely everything abides by a community benefit agreement. Call it what you want, a project labor agreement. But it better benefit the Coachella Valley and our individual communities and the people that live here and pay the bills.
The Riverside County Building Trades Council and the Coachella Valley Unified School District recently entered a partnership that guarantees local skilled tradesmen and women that they will have the jobs that builds the schools needed to meet their future educational needs. Every school district and municipality should have such an agreement to keep your municipal and school construction tax dollars available first to our local skilled labor force and first to our locally owned and veteran locally owned businesses. If you have any questions, call me.
The point is that we earn it. And the politicians are wasting our tax money. Wasting it, blowing it. That's a problem. Now, I used to do a lot of political shows that got none of us, me or you, anywhere, because all it did was point out there's a problem. Now, as you all well know, probably in the last 15 years, I don't do problems. I do solutions. And if I don't have a solution to a problem, I'm not bringing you the problem. Now, if anybody out there, once I get done with this program today, doesn't think I know what I'm talking about,